Vineyards here. I am sorry, my friends, for not being there with you. Know that even though my body is far away, my spirit sits beside you. I have a report for the Nightmare Hunters League. Askell and I are currently tracking creatures of nightmare in the mountains. Local communities had raised the alarm when first one town and then another went silent. With a team of mercenaries and volunteers, we investigated and found signs of a massacre. Strangely, the bodies were missing, and upturned earth showed they had been dragged away. Following the trail, we stumbled upon a man-sized hole dug into the mountain. The tunnel went deep, forcing us to descend single file before opening up into large caverns. Carefully we advanced, marking the path as we went, should a hasty retreat be needed. Finding old mine carts in tracks revealed we were not the first people to set foot here, and one of the locals said they used to mine the mountain for precious metals. Strange, glowing mushrooms grew everywhere here, and our Geiger counter started to crackle when they got near. Slipping our gas masks on, we moved forward into a larger chamber. The walls looked different here, not dug by man or machine. Bones littered the floor, both human and animal, and the mushrooms had taken root here too. I picked a skull up that looked familiar, but I couldn't place it, and after studying it for a moment, I put it in my pack. At that moment, one of the mercenaries cried out in alarm, and when I looked up, I couldn't believe my eyes. The mushrooms had started moving, rippling like wheat stirred by a breeze. Thoughts of sentient plants filled my head until I realized it wasn't the mushrooms moving, but what they had grown on instead. Monsters. They had long pink snouts and mouths brimming with teeth. Small eyes on either side of their heads glinted eerily in the flicker of our lights. Standing up on their back legs to the height of a man, their dark hides were dotted with patches of fur, and the mushrooms grew out of their skin like boils. They had large front paws with long claws, most likely for digging, but could also dismember prey. Their eyes didn't seem to see us, but their nostrils started to twitch, and low growls let us know we had trespassed and were not welcome. "Fall back," I whispered. My throat was dry, and my voice came out hoarse. One of the monsters suddenly lunged forward, and a volunteer pulled the trigger on his shotgun. All hell broke loose, as the flash lit up the cave, and the roar broke the silence. The mutant's body had barely hit the earth before two of our men were pounced on and ripped apart by long, slashing claws. "Fall back!" I shouted this time, firing into the mass of creatures. Panicked fighters ran past, and the ones who stood their ground were quickly overwhelmed. The air filled with the screams of the dying. Askell and I managed to retreat safely. His swords danced and my machine gun chattered as we moved. I fumbled around my gear for a pipe bomb, wincing slightly as blood showered over me from a beheaded monster that got too close. "Granata!" I shouted, pulling the dead cord and threw it up and over the mass of creatures surging towards us. It tumbled end over end before bouncing off the ceiling and disappearing into the crowd. As Askell and I dove for cover, the fierce blast knocked us back. The tunnel caved in a cloud of dirt, and dust engulfed everything. I was lost for a moment in that complete and utter blackness, feeling the weight of the earth as it covered me. My filter became clogged, and panic gripped me as I fought to breathe. Clawing my way out, I felt a hand suddenly grip mine and pull me up. I resisted the urge to rip my mask off my face and instead switch out the filter. There was still so much dust in the air, it was hard to see that my rescuer was one of the volunteers who hadn't abandoned us. As they pulled Askell out, their light illuminated the passage behind me enough to see it was completely blocked off. But I knew that wouldn't last for long. We hurried back, using our guide marks to navigate to the surface quickly. We sit here now, outside the entrance with a barricade set up, and guns pointed into the darkness, discussing what to do next. Some say, smoke them out like rabbits. Others suggest, abandon the area and settling elsewhere. As the others sit and talk, I look at the forest around us. All I know is rabbits never have just one entrance into their burrow.